We're live.
Okay, wonderful. All right, well, I'm going to call to order the Sumner County Library Bylaws and Policies Committee meeting for October 8th, 2024. We ran in just a little bit late. There's a lot of traffic. People are getting caught up in the traffic. But we'll officially open that now. So we're going to do a roll call.
Erica Grammer.
Jim Holcomb.
And Joanna Daniels. And with 3 people, we do have a quorum, so we're going to go ahead and move forward in hopes that someone else shows up. So, all right, Erica, would you like to do the invocation?
Sure.
All right.
Lord, we want to thank you so much for today, and thank you for just the blessing of that in itself. And Lord, I pray that I thank you for the honor that we have of being on the library board, and I pray that you give us wisdom today as we discuss through different things on the policies. And we thank you so much in your precious name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. All right. So now we're going to move on to approval of the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
And I second that.
Okay, second by Erica. Motion by Jim, second by Erica. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
I don't think I can at this point.
I know, right?
That would be
You're all
something.
in, you're
That
all
would be
in.
something, right?
All right, now we're going to go on to the approval of the amends the minutes from October 18th. And so I'm going to open that up. And so I'm going to motion to discuss the minutes taken on October 18th. I sent it in an email.
Got
Did
it.
it not
Yep.
get to you? And I apologize, that was the only
Nope,
thing
don't
that
worry
didn't get printed. Let me know when you're ready.
You can go ahead. I did read through them. So.
Okay. There's a few things that I want to change. It says chairperson, but we actually refer to our people as chairman. And I looked through a lot of the county commissioner committee meetings, and it's always chairman. So anywhere where it says chairperson, I'd like to change it to chairman. Also, under Section 5 and Section 6, where it says vote to accept agenda, it says there was a motion, but it doesn't state that the motion passed on both of those. And I'll send these little notes around you for you to take a look at. And then also, at the end of that meeting, it doesn't state that Beverly Hyde had resigned from the library board, stating that the policy went against her standards. And I just feel that that needs to be on the minutes to show that something big like that did happen at the library board meeting. So I'm going to send these around for you guys to take a look at my notes. And I only crossed out chairperson once, but anywhere that it's at,
Yeah.
I won't cross it out.
So I see just that it's noted that motion passes when it did.
Yeah, and I'll have I think it was Amy that took those, and so I'll have her
Yes.
update those for us.
You very kindly took those.
Yes, it was great for her to take those for us.
Thanks.
Okay. I didn't see anything else in there. I will note that just for you guys to reference, these were actually already posted on the county website, so I have to have them taken down.
Okay.
Just wanted you all to have that on record that they've been posted and
Right.
yeah,
They're since
before we were approved. Yes. So, all right, so I will entertain a motion to adopt the minutes from October 18th as amended and as noted.
Yeah. I'll so move.
So moved. Do I have a
Second.
second?
You walked right in. Hey.
All right. Mike, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, wonderful. All right, welcome.
Sorry I'm late, yep.
No worries. Both of you guys had
Traffic.
problems, so yeah.
And 3 emergency things out of the way.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so now we're going to go on to recognition of the public. And today we have Millersville Library Director, Amy Corbett.
Hello. How's it going?
Hello. Would you like to say anything?
In the future, it would be great if, when you have committee meetings, if you could email all the directors so we know and I'm not scrambling this morning finding out that there is a committee meeting. That would be great.
Okay. And all right, well, thank you so much for that. And all right, so there's no other one in the public? All right, and just to comment really quickly, library directors are not actually required to be at committee meetings. Just for the board to know that, especially for new board members, they're not actually required to be at any committee meetings. Okay. The only requirement they have is at the library board meetings, the official ones. Okay. Okay. All right. So now we're going to move on to new business. I can't talk today either.
Shakespeare made up several thousand words. You're entitled to a couple. Yeah.
I appreciate that. I will take you up on that. Okay, so first of all, new business is to elect a chairman. So I'll open the floor for nominations for chairman.
You're the current chairman. Oh,
I am the chair of the library board.
Right.
And there is no current chair of the library of this committee because Beverly Hyde was the chair and she had resigned. So I'm just simply filling in as the chair because I'm the chair of the library board.
Check.
That's it. So yes, so we would need a chair.
Could you serve as that chair?
Can I serve as the chair? Are you asking me to serve as the chair?
I'm asking if that is a
Just
possibility.
wondering if
It is.
I want all options on the table.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah, all right.
Yes, I can, because according to the bylaws, the chair of the library board can be a voting member and a chair of other
Check.
committees.
Okay.
Yes.
Then I will nominate Joanna Daniels.
Because you don't want to be nominated.
I'm like,
Nominations are open. I've just nominated.
he's always quick to nominate someone else other
Everybody,
than himself.
everybody here can be nominated if they so choose.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you can also decline the nomination.
All right, I
Yep.
accept your nomination.
Great.
Any other nominations?
Nope, I second your nomination.
Oh, boom, look at that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, all right. So then, make a motion to have Joanna Daniels as the chair of the Bylaws and Policies Committee. I'll entertain that motion.
Yep.
So moved.
So
I
move.
second.
Okay. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. All
Great.
right.
Congrats.
Okay,
And condolences.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
I knew that was coming. I knew the condolences, he always says that. Okay, all right, so now we're gonna move on to the notary policy. And this is a brand new policy that we are going to be introducing to Sumner County. Woo-hoo!
Okay.
So the one you have in front of you is the one that was referenced to at the library board meeting in September. And I have looked up a few other ones as well in Tennessee and outside of Tennessee. The only one in Tennessee that I can find is the one in Nashville, and other than this one. And so,
And this one's out of Springfield, correct?
yes. And there is Chattanooga as well. But I'm not seeing, here's one.
Because I believe that Nashville was also referred to, was that the handout that Commissioner Bergdorf's, that she was, Bergdorf was passing around?
I actually never got it, so I don't know.
Okay, I believe that one, if I remember correctly, I think that one was referencing Nashville.
Okay.
And then the one that was just referred to, but we never saw material from, was this one from Springfield. This was the one that,
Correct.
help me with names, my brain.
Caitlin.
Caitlin was referring
Yeah.
to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes, this is the one she was referring to. Yeah, and then I see Nashville.
and I think that Shannon had referred to, I think she just found that online, the Nashville one.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that there's not a lot of, I don't see this as something that's regularly amongst libraries, and yet I'm cool with moving forward with it, but it's not as, I don't think as predominant or as,
Not a bunch of them out there.
no.
Mhm.
And so, yeah. So, all right, well, and most of them, well, I think it was it Nashville? Do they charge?
How does the one
I
in
think-
Nashville differ from this one?
So I think Nashville does not charge, which is what my encouragement would be to be, and I believe that's
Correct.
even what was said of Millersville that was wanting to do that as well.
Sure, yeah.
I don't think we should charge because you do start getting into question marks about, so I think in policy we should mention that
Yeah.
of
like
not charging
Public service.
Mhm.
as a public service.
Right.
And, but I think that Nashville did not, if I remember correctly.
They don't. Mm-mm.
And I liked a lot of their listing, which I see here too, just things they don't do. You don't want to, there's certain aspects you do not want to get into. It's
Yeah,
a lot heavier of
with
the
the notary
liability.
stuff, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Online the Nashville, they actually mark what they do, which I
Mhm.
think would be good. Not what we don't, just what we don't, but what we
Mhm.
actually do.
Right.
Yeah, I think
So
that's
there's
good
no,
too.
there's no gray area.
Yeah, I
one-
see
this one
that.
doesn't look very
Documents
clear.
we
You have to
do
read the whole
/
thing.
don't do. I think is
Like
what
you're
it
saying, it
says.
doesn't look clear, this one?
Yeah, because when I'm just looking at it, I can't just, my eye
Mhm.
doesn't go straight to the we don't do these,
Mhm.
and we do these, you know, it's just kind of like all in there, you have to read the whole thing to,
I got you. So maybe move that up in the bullet points.
yeah.
So, and I think bullet points are, better when we do represent, we make sure it's real easy for the
Yeah,
eye.
very easy.
But yeah, so I just found that the documents we do / don't notarize, I think that's Nashville. So if y'all would like to glance at those.
Yeah, I'm writing it down. So right now it is sworn statements.
That they
Powers
do.
that they do, yes. The library's free notary service is intended for simple documents, auto titles, etc., that do not require special expertise. Some commonly notarized documents include sworn statements, powers of attorney, deeds of trust, rental agreements. And it looks like this is kind of examples of things.
Mhm.
Copies, certifications, and we could, do this, just these. Beneficiary designations for retirement accounts, promissory notes, and motor vehicle bills of sale. So what are your guys' thoughts on that? Beneficiary designations.
Well, it's probably safe to say none of us really have expertise on what should be available for notarization and what shouldn't be, so there's obviously
She does.
somebody.
She's smiling.
Oh,
I
you
used to
have-
be a notary,
Oh,
but
gotcha.
as far as,
So what should we
the-
do, Erica?
I
My-
was like, you told us
so
at the
the-
best- at
so
the
the-
last board meeting.
That's
You weren't-
right.
you
Yeah.
So
weren't-
the
I was
emphasis
like-
that the emphasis, however we word this and whatever, is that simple documents. Because when you start getting into more of the complicated, even some of these start making me,
Yeah, like
that's
real
why I've been
estate, I
really
would say-
quiet, sitting here looking at these
Right.
going, those
Yeah.
are some pretty heavy
I
ones,
mean, real
actually.
estate in general, to me, is kind of an expertise.
Well,
Because
this is-
when it can
that one
be,
says we cannot notarize the real estate transactions.
All the real
Yes.
estate, well, you're just
Correct.
saying a deed of trust, is that,
it's,
isn't that one that you said we could?
yeah, it does include deeds of trust on theirs, but
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just, we need to be very careful about the wording of the
Anything
simple
real estate.
document is just the important aspect, so we need to think through what that is, because when you start getting into more of these deeper things, you are put, you know, it would all fall, the majority of it would fall on the person who is the one who is the notary, who's having,
Right.
who has paid for the liability,
We
the
don't-
bond, I can't think of I think it's called a bond, but whatever the
Yeah.
terminology.
We don't want anybody to be overly responsible for something
And
that's just,
Something in
kind of
our writing, I
provide as
don't
a
know if it's
service.
included in this writing, but it is in the other. I do think it always should be written up as, and it's to the notary's discretion. So if something does
That's in
feel
there.
too, yes, okay.
That's in there.
If something feels too heavy, that it is their name,
Yeah,
it's
no
their
problem.
thing,
yeah.
so
they
to their
could just say,
discretion.
no, I can't do
Now
that.
this says benefit of the residents of the community. So they'll have to have a photo ID showing. Now, my
You
question
have to
here,
have that anyway to get something notarized.
but if we're trying to say that they're a resident of the community, should they bring in a second form of identification?
What does the notary normally need?
Well, this is for
They just
benefits of
need-
the residents of the community, because we don't want people from all
Yeah.
over the place coming to the library, at least that's what I would think.
Yeah.
We don't want, if this is something that we're, supplying, but you guys, what are your thoughts?
I wonder if people
Jim,
are
you're
gonna
being
really
quiet
be
again.
coming from very far away to come to
Mhm.
the library to get something notarized.
Well,
But it could be somebody that is from out of state, that they're just
Yeah.
here, and then they're gonna just go to the library, and again, is that something that we're okay with?
Yeah, I don't know.
Do they need to have a card at that location, that kind of stuff? Like,
Library
and
card?
that would already have proven address.
Right,
Oh.
that's true. So if we say you have
So
to have a
it
library
would at
card,
least,
Card
have to be a
holders?
patron of the library.
and I
I
think that
guess.
might even be in some of the writing where I've
That's
read
in
some of
here.
that. Yeah.
That's in here when it comes to the charge.
Mm,
So card
that's where
holders
I
was
thought it,
$3,
yeah.
non-card holders was
Oh,
$5.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
that's, I was
I don't
overlooking
think
that
we
because I
should
saw the
charge.
wording thing,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I
Uh,
saw it. I couldn't remember where I saw that.
So then notary service is limited to 5 documents per person per visit for existing library card holders, and then there is for the non-card holders. But since this is gonna be a free service,
Have
I would
existing
think it
library
would be
card holders
existing
only.
library card.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts?
I mean, it would at least encourage them to get a card. You do at least have to prove your address. You do at least have to prove your county. I mean, like, those are my thoughts. That way you're attracting people who are tending to come in. If they really wanted to, they could get a card. They would just have to present the appropriate information to get a card so that they could do it.
Do we know if Westmoreland currently requires a card for service?
what about Nashville?
I don't know.
Well, this would show me no.
I don't-
For
at this-
Springfield, they
at-
don't.
At this time, Westmoreland, it didn't sound like she really had a policy, just someone came in and
Yeah,
just
which,
did it.
it-
Yeah.
and if that's the policy, that's okay. I'm seeking to understand. Taking a further step back,
Sure.
I want to make sure that offering services like this, and I know there are other services that have been requested to be placed in libraries. Like, is that consistent with the plan for libraries from the commissioners? Does, and the answers to my questions are, I don't know, so maybe somebody else does. Does Gallatin City Hall offer notary services? Does Portland City Hall, does Westmoreland City Hall offer notary services?
I know they do here.
But this is the
secretary.
county building, right? And so if, I wouldn't want somebody from Westmoreland to have to drive to the county building, to get notary services. And so in that case, it would make sense to have it at another public building. And so maybe, does their city hall offer that?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
What we could do is if you guys, we could suspend Robert's rules and ask Amy the questions, since she's the one that brought up this notary service.
Yeah, sure, great.
So I'll entertain a motion to suspend Robert's rules.
So moved.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Okay, Amy, so where is it in Millersville that people can get notaries? Can it be done at City Hall?
City Hall doesn't offer that?
No.
Okay.
The bank does, but you have to have an account.
Sure.
I do believe that they charge,
Mm-hmm.
but she's not there all the time.
Okay, and what about at, these mailboxes places,
We don't
because
have
usually.
those in Millersville.
So, yeah,
No,
Millersville, we
UPS,
don't
something like
have,
that.
we don't have a post office, let alone, like,
Not
you,
a
just
post
any,
office.
no, we
Oh,
have,
wow.
we have White House that we have to go to, or.
Oh, that's
And we are
right.
considered Fidletsville. So like we're further away from a lot of those things. That is one of the reasons I could sit here and go,
Yeah.
yeah, there's not really a lot of options, but,
Sure,
I
Yeah.
mean, going into White House is different, but,
no, I hear you.
So the bank charges for it? Okay,
And you have to have
They
an
don't
account.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, if you don't have an account, okay. I was gonna say my bank does it, but they don't charge, but it's because I have an account.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
so let me ask you too, what are your thoughts on the card versus not card?
I'm the epitome of a librarian, and anything that restricts access to a free service for someone in our community, I'm opposed to on just a basic level, because that's not what the library does. I'm all for people coming in and getting library cards, but a lot of the people wouldn't come back, and so you
Right.
have to weigh the cost of how much to print the library card, how much to store the information on the
Sure.
True.
web, on the cloud,
I hear that.
for someone who
Mhm.
just came in because they need to get their renter's agreement
Mhm.
notarized, so
Right.
that they
Yeah.
could move here, so that they could do all this other
Right.
stuff.
Right.
It's I don't have the number, so I can't
Right.
tell you, but there's so I bought 500 library cards, and it was like 600 and something, so each card is over $1.
Yeah.
So technically, we would be not losing money,
Mhm.
because the library that's not how it works, but the funding that would go to
Mhm.
isn't being reciprocated.
Mm-hmm.
So another question with that, because that's a good insight to hear. If, my heart is just to try to protect, I don't think there's gonna be a run on, like this dashing in of the masses or anything, but your time, I'm wanting to protect your time, and I'm wanting to consider not getting an overload. So would just the scheduling process take care of that? Because you said they would need to schedule it, they would need to make an appointment. So would that help that aspect in itself, and we don't have to worry about the card or not card holder and that kind of
I
stuff?
don't think so, because we can have it, because I would just make like a Google form and put it on our website,
Mhm.
where they would have to put in this information before they could even reserve a time to come meet with me. I don't know about Westmoreland, and then
Mhm.
have one Saturday a quarter where,
Mhm.
come in, show your driver's license, if you're in the area, we can do that, but it would just be
And so that will be our way of not having a run on, like I said, I don't think it'll be the masses, but protecting your time. That would be the way to do that.
And as a librarian, I also love statistics, and so having it in a Google form, I
Yes.
can also keep track of, okay, this is the service we offered, this is how long we offered it,
Yes.
these are the options, this is how many people partook of it, so maybe this really isn't actually something we need to continue, and so it would give us that hard data
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
determine if this is a service that we're like, okay, I had somebody come in yesterday needing a notary, right?
Mhm.
It's like, then, hey, this might be something some of the other libraries want to look at, and
Mhm.
data is very helpful with making any type of decision.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, that's one thing I was gonna ask, is how many people do you feel like really need this or could use this in general? I
In
mean, I know you
Millersville?
don't have-
A
Yeah,
lot.
It's a lot.
really? Okay.
Weekly, I have people coming in weekly.
Okay,
That's why
well, that's good
I brought
then.
it to the board to ask. 'Cause
And you're the one that would have the notary, right?
It would be me, I would take
Okay.
the bond out myself.
Okay,
So so there wouldn't be any, the county wouldn't be paying for anything.
What's the cost for you to do that?
I think the bond's like $65.
That sounds
And
what I
then
paid.
you have to go before the county commission and have them
Mhm.
approve that you want it, that
Yes.
you're acceptable to being a notary. And then there are some online courses that, some of them are free, some of them you have to pay for. I'm not sure if that's a scam.
Mhm.
I didn't want to devote hours of time to a lot of information without.
Unless you knew it was gonna happen,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and a lot of those are, when you start getting into more complicated things that you're not going to be doing through the library, where that comes in, so, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Did you have questions?
I did. On Erica's note, there is no free service, right? I mean, it costs somebody something, you know, and so in your guys' case, it will cost time, and that's, you know, the greatest resource we have. What, do you have any thoughts on charging versus not charging?
No, I would never charge. It's a library service.
Okay,
It never even crossed my mind.
yeah,
That's not what we do. We enable equitable access to information. So if we put a charge, a price on something, then.
but I know that
members
this
of
is
our
information,
community
but,
Yeah.
limits the information, and members of our community who might not have the hard money to pay would be denied a service that I feel should not be charged for, but we're very low income in Millersville, and it could be a hardship.
yeah.
Plus, that is
Well,
some of what
um,
Eric had brought up, the lawyer had brought up, where if we did charge, where would those monies go and
Right.
how, so, I mean, that's why I was.
And I believe that we offer equal access to information. And therefore everyone is equal in the sense of coming into the library. And, you know, it really isn't free. Free isn't a good word because, you can't check out a book unless you get a library card.
Right.
You can't come in and use the computer unless you have a library card.
Right.
There's many things in the library that you can't do that, and it isn't free because the taxpayers actually have to pay for it.
Good for the time, yeah.
Yeah, and the time, and now it's an extra load on you as a director. And so it definitely is a equal access to information.
Yeah,
so.
well, I'm not sure this is an information issue.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
To be
But I was
It's a
just
service.
talking to her.
I got you.
Access
Okay.
to
And
information as much as it's a service
Correct.
that you're having to pay for
Mhm.
out of your pocket. So that's, I think, we're just being protective more of you and the liability that could come back to whatever service we
I
provide.
absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I completely understand where you're coming from. Free was not the best word, but we do offer a lot of other services at no cost to people in our
Okay.
community that don't require library cards.
Is there anything, can you give us a couple of examples of that? Just, and I'm
Any
just
of our
kind of new, so I'm kind of
Mike,
ignorant.
we're actually gonna have to move on because I
Okay.
just saw what time it is and
Oh, okay.
we're actually gonna have
Any
to
of the
move on.
programs that we offer in
So,
the library.
yeah.
Books,
Okay.
the
So,
books.
books,
I think
yes.
the books
Yep.
is probably the
Exactly.
biggest.
There
Okay,
Yeah.
cool,
There are
thanks,
many.
I'm
Apologize.
good.
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna call us into Robert's Rules of meeting to order. Okay, wonderful, apologize about that.
No, that's okay. I
Thanks,
wasn't
Timeframe.
paying attention to the time.
Thank you, Amy. Okay, so again, yes, this is a service. This is something that, again, I have not found that a tremendous amount of libraries actually do it. But and I was cautioned against doing it, but I think that if we can just put some parameters around it, she had mentioned about, you know, 1 day a month. Well, that's not gonna really be serving people if we do it 1 day a month, because what if you need it notarized in the next 5 days?
Right, yeah.
You know, that's not gonna work. And then I think that any type of way that we can, okay, let me know your guys' thoughts. So like, on this one, it says notary services are regularly available Monday through Friday, 9:30 to 4. Well, of course, our libraries aren't always open 9:30 to 4 on a Monday through Friday.
Right.
So we could change that to, you know, 8 hours during business hours, a half an hour after opening and a half an hour before closing. What were your thoughts?
we've got 5 separate buildings with 5 separate
Yeah.
Yeah,
hours of operation. I would write the policy so that local control
Yes,
is.
I agree with that. Yeah,
I would leave that in the hands of the notary on site, at the discretion of their director.
okay.
Is-
But, okay, so then, but per reservation though?
By reservation.
Because that's what is on here. is
Yeah.
that I know
So,
there is a reservation.
Here's my thoughts.
Mhm.
By reservation, if we make this more about the by reservation, then it lets them narrate when those would be available. So if that is, for some, because we are trying to set the precedent, right? So policy, we're trying to set it so that any of the 5 needs may be very different communities and availability. So I think our emphasis should not be like how they have this worded here, where it says these specific times, like what he was saying, to give the,
Director.
By the
Yes,
discretion
we
of the
give the-
library
yes.
director.
but then they can set it up where when it's by reservation, the reservations will only have certain times available, or
Right.
it would be specific where they can write it where it's specific to where
That works for their schedule.
it lets them
Yeah.
work that out specifically.
By appointment.
Yeah, it seems like it would be a little bit easier if it was from 1 to 3 daily or something like that.
Yeah,
If
but
where they
that's
had,
gonna
like,
be a different need in a
for
different
each
place.
library,
Yes,
correct, that's what I'm
yes.
saying, but if they
Mhm.
had those, so every day we're gonna have this service.
Mhm.
So
But
if
that-
somebody,
But only during
only
business
during,
hours.
yeah, like whatever hours they set for it to be available, and then
It
that'd
would be a set schedule by each library.
Right, that
Yes.
would be reserved for, through the document you looked about, it would be reserved like that.
And I mean, like, there are cool things that we could suggest or put, like, one of my suggestions would be for them to maybe have some set times, like what she was referring to. Maybe one Saturday a month is like an expected
But that's
time,
something that they
an
can do.
expected
Notary,
time.
Yeah,
But then by reservation, she could make some, different agreements or whatever.
and those
by-
will
by
pop up
whatever
on the
works for
site, I
her.
guess, if they know
Yeah.
that that's available, the
So-
public knows.
Yeah, so we can put that at discretion of the library director, for hours and by reservation or appointment only during normal public hours. Because I don't want them having to
Right.
open
Right.
it
That's
early or
right.
late.
Right.
That's right.
Nor an
And
expectation of
then
it
the
at all.
notary
expect-
can be reached, we'll put in the phone number there. A valid government issued photo identification is required of any, customer seeking notary. I'm actually of the notion that they have to get a card, a library card, and the reason being is because we are doing a service. It is a way for us to track who is coming in, and it's, but that's, y'all can disagree with me on this. I just feel that something like this, that's actually an employee is having to interact and actually sign something, what big deal is it gonna do to actually a library card? Because then, maybe they thought they were only gonna come in once, but now they loved the library so much, now they're gonna come in again. You know what I mean? And also, I just feel that, it would keep it down as to far as like, people just coming in willy-nilly, and just my opinion.
Yeah.
But you can disagree with me? That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm kind of split. As far as my opinion on this, because I was even pushing for that, and then, I mean, I hear the resources and the space and that kind of stuff. If it is just a one-time thing, but I do like the documentation even further. Now, the Google Docs could function that way as far as documentation.
Yeah.
Because they are going to, it's not just somebody showing up, and there would have to be, maybe we could even write it in as a part of the policy of some kind of documentation of the specifics or something that might be part of the signing in process, that those are required informations, like address and things like that, so that we at least have that information. But if it is just a dead lead, like, if it's just gonna be lost resources, I do hear that too. Like, So I kind of am torn in between. I don't know if that makes
Well, they're
sense.
still using the resources because they're
I'm
using
talking,
employees.
I'm sorry, the
It's
card.
not-
I'm talking
oh,
like the
okay.
card and the space database, you know, if they're just a one-time
Mhm.
pop in. But it does, I mean, like I hear what you're saying too. I hear both sides of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing Amy said was that there are other services that are provided without a library card. So that's something that we could,
But this is a notary service.
Right.
So services like that, I think that she was referring to is like,
Yeah.
there's like free food and, you know,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
someone's coming in to get food,
right,
you know, from that. But this is more of a, I guess the reason being is a notary is kind of a big deal. It's a legal document. That's why I'm saying we need a library card. That's the reason why I'm pushing for the library card. This is not like someone coming in and getting a donation.
right.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now an employee has paid money, their own money, to go and get a notary and all that stuff. And so that's just where I'm coming with the library card.
Yeah.
So,
I'm kind of split as well. So I can see both. I can see the side where it's a service, it's included in the service, we want to do it for the public. I can see your point of having that extra accountability to this person, and maybe they'll never come back to the library again, maybe they will, maybe that's going to be their introduction to the library, and maybe if we don't require them to have a library card, Amy and the rest can say, hey, here's all my marketing materials to give you to come back to the library. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of see it, I kind of see it both ways.
and I also see it this way, and correct, you know, maybe now it's going to be free at the library. So there's other notaries in Hendersonville, because we're not just talking about Millersville,
Right.
Gallatin, Westmoreland, and Portland. They're going to be like, I literally just lost money.
I don't think,
But
No.
I can say as a note, I mean, like,
I don't think that's.
I'm just saying.
I can hear that, but as a former
I can
notary,
understand.
I knew places of businesses were, places were open
But I'm just saying,
and
I
available.
want to respect that this
Yes.
is something that people
Yes.
do go and, but anyways, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Jim, you look like you're ready to say something.
I'm always ready to say something.
You are just
Uh,
bursting.
No, I think we might be overthinking this a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
I don't know, when you take your kid to a reading program at the library, I don't think you need a card. Yeah. So services like that are the bread and butter of the library,
community stuff.
require no card. I don't think a card's needed nor required for this. If I understand the way my library works and I check out books, I think I only need a card to check out a book. Is about it. Maybe use the internet.
Correct. But taking your kid to hear a library isn't getting a legal document signed.
I understand.
So
I understand.
I'm just saying it's
Yeah.
kind of different service.
But the liability, the way I see it, the liability is the person who's doing the signing, because that does
Hey.
end up falling on that, so.
Y'all can disagree with me. It's okay
Yeah,
with me.
sure.
I'm just saying that, but taking your kid to a reading program and not having is different than actually having somebody notarize
Yeah.
a legal document that's going to hold up in court.
But we're talking about fees, we're talking about access to the service, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I would be more inclined to charge for the service, the nominal $3 or $5 fee, than I would to require a library card. I think, and talk about more work for the library staff, and maybe more discouraging work to see somebody
Gotcha.
only get a library card to get the
something
document
notarized.
notarized
That's
and
kind of the way I was
toss
looking
it,
at too.
right?
It's
Okay.
more-
Because it
Yeah.
is
more
more
work
of a
for
process
them.
that is more.
Right, it's just another hurdle.
So just a photo ID?
Yes,
Okay.
because
Whatever the
as a
notary
notary,
requires.
she's,
Right.
as a notary, whoever the notary is at the time, they have to document who that
That's right.
person is, they have to
That's right.
document that information, and that is a part of their paperwork anyway, so
That's right.
Okay.
as far as the liability, she does have that document, she would have that documented.
I would ask that we.
I'm not going to die on the hill for
Right.
this.
I'm
going
I
there.
just ask in the policy that we ask for those libraries that do have a notary on staff or offer that notary service to include those statistics in their
In their reports.
in the reports.
Okay.
Right, because I think we're all a little surprised that there was a notary service
Correct.
at one of our libraries.
Yeah.
Which,
Uh-huh.
you know, so yeah, that'd be good to know. You know, and how.
Just more for the interacting of the public with
Yeah.
the
Hey,
public and that.
how
kind of
much
thing,
foot
so
traffic
we
is that
know.
generating?
Okay. And then, again, any notary classes, expenses will not be taken on by the library or the county. That is simply,
That is on the
That is the deal that was
responsibility.
offered.
That's right, that's on the responsibility of whoever is becoming the notary or maintaining the
Yeah,
notary.
and back to my original question, and, you know, hey, what's the guidance, what's the wishes of the county commissioners, right? If this is something they want, then I think the expenses should be covered,
Right.
you know, by the county. You know, if this is,
they haven't said whether they
I
want.
understand,
and-
yeah.
So-
Maybe
And I-
check with Shannon next time.
I think it's
See.
just trying to create, I know I'm taking words I've heard. I think the biggest picture from what I've heard being presented from Amy and
Yeah,
others
totally.
is just having that one more level of things available. It does give them a touch point with people so
Right,
that
for
possibly
sure.
they can
Yeah.
attract them in.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
And really quickly, just because we are going to
Yeah,
have to move
we're
forward
running
here.
the chicken.
You know, with the budgets, when I went for Hendersonville to try to get more money, they actually cut Hendersonville's budget.
Yeah.
So at this point in time, they're being, and I'm happy that they're being very fiscally responsible
Yeah,
and just
for
being
sure.
really tight. So I think that, again, since this is something that we're not gonna charge for, and it's something that the library director brought to us, and I guess is already being in Westmoreland, I think that.
Today for today, it is
Yes.
what it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
I think that we should just be like, hey, there's nothing, you know what I mean?
And
So-
if we were to pay for it, not us, but the
The county.
county, then the county starts taking responsibility and liability for the things that are being signed, and that's where we start getting in dangerous places.
I'm not sure that that's
I
necessarily
don't
true.
think that would be true.
It could be a lot more, to me, that would be more of a leaning of a possibility of a lawsuit than
Yeah.
a person that is taking
I
responsibility.
don't know, she's a
Understood.
notary, I wasn't.
The
so-
notary's bonded, correct?
Understood.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I think the buck stops with the notary,
yeah.
I believe.
It's like,
legally.
it is
But it could-
literally like the notary is saying, putting their hand on a Bible
Right.
and doing the whole,
Yeah.
and saying, this person is who they say they are.
Right.
Who, this signature on this piece of paper is by the person that they say they are.
Yeah.
And so it's.
Well, what
it's
I'll
serious
do
thing.
is, okay, so we're not charging, it's a free service, photo ID required. I'm seeing documents have to be in English. Notary service is not available for deeds, mortgages, wills, living trusts, codicils, depositions, marital dissolution agreements, oh Lord, no, marriages or parenting plans. So what I'll do is I'll go and I'll put together the notes. So certain public documents cannot be copied and notarized. For this service, please see the Tennessee Office of Vital Records, okay? The notary in the library shall never notarize any signature without the maker of the signature, person appearing there. Yet, in situations where a witness is required, the library will not provide witnesses. I agree with that. And in accordance with the law, the notary will not provide service if the customer, document, or circumstances raises any issues of authenticity, ambiguity, doubt, or uncertainty for the library. So what I'll just go through is the notes that we had on here. Discretion of the library director for hours and by reservations appointment only during normal public hours. Photo IDs required, which is in here, include notary statistics in the report for the library board, and expenses are on the notary. So what I'll do is I'll take this and I'll kind of put together a policy on our notes that we have here, and then we'll set another meeting and we'll approve it or make any last minute changes. Sound good to you?
Good.
Any
Yeah.
other, and no card, no library card required. No library.
No, I didn't see the Nashville policy. Is there a way to kind of meld these two together, or is that?
It didn't really have much of a policy, and this
It didn't,
is
okay.
Springfield. Nashville had these things that can be done, but I think you were like, you want it to be.
They're a little bit more serious. These are a lot more serious still.
Simple, yeah. So
Yeah.
what I'll do is I'll say simple, and then what simple documents, and what is a example of a simple document that you're thinking of? Like a sworn statement, powers of attorney, deed of trust, are any of these simple?
Affidavit.
The funny thing is that, that's actually the list I'm looking at. So,
Just
I
tell
I
me which
just-
ones are simple.
I know for me, I just start getting a little more nervous on the, when we start talking about houses, the deeds of trust,
Property,
So deeds of trust, no?
powers of attorney, that's
anything real
that's
estate, I
a,
would
Okay.
say.
all these things are
is a no.
very, suable.
Yeah.
Beneficiary designation for retirement accounts, yay or nay?
I think that could be very most of the time that would be very matter of
Okay.
fact.
Promissory notes, motor vehicle bills of sale.
And I think those are very because
Yeah,
you would
they
have to
are.
have
Rental
those
agreement,
actual
good,
people in
copy
front of you.
certifications, and sworn statements, good?
I think those are
right.
actual witnesses, actual
Those
people.
are the ones that she's saying that are simple
Yeah.
sworn statements.
And the others could be, but those are a lot more
Are you good with
suitable.
that, Jim?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, cool. We'll list that, and we'll list the ones that we don't want.
Which I like what they have on the knots.
Yeah.
They have good knots.
Okay. All right, so I will make a motion that, that I will create a policy, merging the Stokes Brown Public Library with the notes that we have right here. And then I'll put that together, and then we'll have another meeting, and we'll get that, take a look at that. So I'll entertain that motion.
So moved?
So moved, do I have a second? By Mike.
Second.
And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, wonderful. All right, so we're gonna move on to the collection and development policy planning pertaining to surplus books. So this, very happy that we can get the books there. Those are different. This is the collection and
Oh,
development
yes, the
policy.
regular, yeah.
So there were some suggestions that came about that I changed in a few of the things. So change in our collection and development policy under donations. It was change recycle to disposal, so as not to limit how you can get rid of it.
Great.
Okay. And then, so under donations, donated items considered for the addition to the collection consist of the like new material in the following formats. So what I will just do, anywhere where it says recycle, I'll put disposal, and then so under donations, it would be given away to the community or be disposed of, where it says or be recycled right now.
Where
Does
is
that make
that?
sense?
Oh,
It's not in
It's-
yours,
Oh,
it's
it's
in
not.
our collection development
Existing.
policy
Okay.
that we have, it's the existing one.
Okay.
Or be disposed of. Okay? And then,
You're just adding language. to-
uh-huh,
Just
changing
swapping
out.
Okay.
And then in weeded books, given away or recycled, it would say disposed of. So it's just a few things, and then at the end, it would say we'll have access to and will be disposed of. So what I'll just do is I'll make these minor adjustments. If you guys are in favor of changing where it says recycle to be disposed of, I'll make those minor changes, and then we can vote on that. Cool?
That sounds,
All right,
Yeah.
so I'll entertain a motion to make those changes.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? Wonderful, okay. And then set calendar to review all library policies. Those are the big things that you have in front of you, okay? So, many of you probably haven't seen these, but these are the policies right now that we have in effect for the libraries. These were 2016 and 2018, some 2019, and per Tennessee, we're supposed to be going over these policies on a yearly basis. And we haven't had a chair for the policies and committee for a year, so we haven't gone over any of these policies. Also, you have a rough draft policies. This was actually put together, rough draft policy under the system, the library system. So I just want to make sure you guys have this as well. Because this has been floating around, as well, amongst, it was given to us when we first came on the library board. So,
That's almost 2 years, that's almost 2 years ago.
2 years, yes. So, also, as it is right now, there is no congruent employee handbook amongst all of the libraries.
Okay.
So there is a lot of things that that policies and bylaws needs to go over in the next short amount of
Which
time.
I would love to see that. I'm a streamliner. I love those kind of things where we
Yeah.
have that stuff.
Yeah.
I was sad to hear that we didn't have that stuff available.
Correct.
Well, people just need to know what's expected of them.
Yeah, and that's actually been requested.
Yeah,
It
I'm
has
sure.
been. Did you have a
I'm sure it
question?
has.
When you say no, you said no handbook, right? So there's no,
Employee.
there's been no reconciliation between the old system bylaws and our current bylaws, right? Like,
Policies, not bylaws.
I'm sorry, policies.
So
These are policies, not
these
bylaws.
rough drafts were never approved or published.
Got it.
Okay, these are what they are running on now.
These are
And we
policies.
also have to recreate the mission statement as well, because we are supposed to look at the mission statement and make sure it is current. So, and say recreate, I should say, we're supposed to look at the mission statement, and this stuff is actually supposed to be on a yearly basis. So, with that being said, I put on here a set of calendar to review all library policies. I brought my calendar, and I thought that we could set a few times that we could start going through some of these policies. And since you all have them, we could come together afterwards and say, hey, these are my notes and all that stuff as well. So with that being said, we need to set a date.
So, okay, so what would be the assignment then for us? So would it be wise for us to start going through these policies? Because we'll need to do that before we set a date. I mean,
Correct.
before
Well,
we come together.
What I think would be great is for us, first of all, for you guys to take these home, read them. I'll also email it to you as well, so you can have it on email. I think Jackie does have both of these, but I'll make sure to email them to her as well. I think in the meantime, between now and the time that we come together to approve these other two policies that we just finished up, that everyone kind of take a look at it, and then I'll put it on the agenda to set the calendar. That should give people time to have
Peruse
read
all
through
this.
the
Okay.
policies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I understand, I'm reading both of these, am I looking for, I mean, these are, the old system ones are non-binding, I understand that, like, we're not
Not
operating
in
under
place.
these.
That was never official.
These were never even approved.
Okay.
These were just looked through, but you can
completed.
use them for reference, saying,
Check.
hey, you know what, I kind of like something
Got
in
it.
there,
Okay.
and I want to put it in
Okay.
this policy.
All right.
Got
And it
Do
was
you know
never
what I'm saying?
completed because it even has notes of extreme revision
Okay.
and things like
Very
that.
good.
Yeah, and like you'll look in here, and it has our the old collection development policy, if it's even in there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yes,
This isn't even our current.
this is our
I'm sorry,
current
this is our current, but it's not congruent with our existing bylaws.
policies. Or
But
what do you
like
mean
Like the
by-
collection
collection.
policy, the new
The
collection
collection.
policy is not in here.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. It's not in.
That's what we're doing. We're modernized, we need to bring them
Mhm.
together.
Yes, because this is, like, if you look in here, there's computer usage policy,
That's different now.
that's different now.
Right, so why aren't those policies in here? Because
Because-
as we pass them.
Because no one ever, we didn't have a chairman
For
that
the-
was taking that role.
We didn't have a chair, and the previous chair of the library board never called a policy and bylaws committee meeting
Right,
to
Okay.
marry them. Does that make sense?
yeah, but it's not like the computer use policy or any of the other policies that have been passed by this board. I mean, they're obviously in effect. They're
Correct,
just
they
not
are in
this-
effect.
They're just not in this
They're
packet.
just not
Not
in
in the-
this packet.
Okay.
Paper.
Brr,
Yes.
Loud angry
So
words.
the Y is we
I
are the
understand.
ones now.
I'm tracking.
All right, so now we want to make this
Unified.
pretty and
Official,
unified.
right.
Got it,
Official.
very good.
Make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
And adopted.
Yeah.
And adopted, correct? Okay, all right, well, so what we want to do then is, we're going to set the calendar for our next meeting then, for this, and I'll, hopes that Jackie can do it if, so we'll put it as a tentative. Would, 2 weeks be good, or what are you guys thinking?
Look at that.
I'm not available the 22nd or 23rd.
Yeah, I'll be in Mexico
Okay.
that week.
Oh, fancy.
Well, it's just for
Don't worry, I'm just kidding.
treatment for my wife, Lyme disease.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, I'm so sorry, I'll be praying for her.
Thank you.
Oh, and we
Well,
need
thanks
to be
for
praying for
making me look like a
Jackie
Jackie.
today
Yes.
too, because she's
I-
getting ready for
Yes, I had thought
procedure,
about
so
her.
we want to say a prayer for
Yes.
her.
Indeed.
Okay, all right.
29th?
Go ahead.
29th?
29th works for me.
Yep, well, that would work.
As far as I know, that's fine.
Do 29th.
Oh, wait, let's see,
Okay.
testing at 7,
And we can do it on a different day than a Tuesday as well.
I looked at all the days. That was the first one that was open.
Okay,
okay.
that sounds.
I
this is
can't
the
do it
first
on
one.
that day, so, my wife has a thing at 12:30 that's like gonna be 5 hours. I have to be there with her,
Okay.
so I can't do it on that day. Could do it the next day.
We could always do it earlier in the day.
Okay, yeah. So I
I
could.
start hitting, when does that start? When did you say?
What?
When-
12:30. Well, it's in Murfreesboro, so we have to drive, so it's an hour drive.
I start hitting timing issues because of giving a ride
What
to my
time?
son. I am giving my son a ride at 10.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I'll be busy from 9:30 to 10:30, so
Okay.
that's still.
Could do the 30th.
30th?
I'm 30th.
30th?
I'm wide open on the 30th.
We have a personnel meeting at 4,
Mm-hmm.
just to have put that out there. So that's open for me. I'm just reminding.
Okay.
I could do it anytime on the 30th.
So
But then you can't have till after 3:30, right?
correct.
Okay.
I
Why
can
don't we do
it
this?
anytime on the 31st.
31st?
Yeah.
31st, okay with you?
It's open for me. My problem is I just give rides to my son for work, so that limitation is there for me. But I'm open whenever.
What
Okay.
time what time do you give him a ride?
I'm not available from 9:30 to 10:30, and I'm not available from 1:30 to 2:30.
Okay, so
Okay.
what if we did
So
11?
anything. Yeah. So I mean, like that would work for even.
Or 3? After.
Even the
Right.
30th, like the 30th or 31st, I can do that at 11 or 11:30.
Okay.
Okay. I
Okay,
can do
why don't
that.
we do this?
I can do that too.
Because we'll just go ahead and do this via email, because
Google poll.
then, you know, I don't want to take up any more time.
We'll get Jackie to consider too,
Yeah,
right?
we'll get
Okay.
Jackie to
Okay.
consider as well. So we'll send out some time via email. Sound cool?
Very good.
Okay, all right, so then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second. I got it. You didn't
All in
even.
favor, say
You were
aye.
totally out of that one,
Oh, anybody opposed?
Aye. Yeah, take that.
3-1.
All right.
How dare you?
All right, we gotta stop this.
Amy, feeling good about